Hello and welcome, dear aspirant, our future officer and changemaker of India. Hope you are doing well. I know you are preparing smart towards reaching your goal. Congrats to taking one step closer to serving the nation. Preparing for UPSC is not just gaining knowledge, but it is transformation of character, discipline, and perseverance. On this positive note, let's jump on to today's discussion. It's a continuation of artificial intelligence. Today, I'm going to tell you, explain you the concepts of artificial intelligence, and we will discuss machine learning, one of the key concepts, in detail. Let's get started. So, concepts of AI. There are few key concepts of AI that any AI system uh, kind of considers when the system is being developed or when the system is designed to serve a purpose. So the first key concept is machine language. S- So machine learning, it is a subset of AI where machines improve through experience and data. So all in the AI world, all that we are trying to achieve is to you know uh, simulate human intelligence into machines. So we are trying to make machines learn and you know start thinking like humans, solving problems with their logical and reasoning abilities. So that's what the basic concept of artificial intelligence explains. So if we take machine learning, so it is a subset of artificial intelligence where machines improve. So they are trained in such a way that they improve through experience and data. So the more the data the machines start processing, that performance is getting improved, and they're going to learn from the experience, try to identify more patterns and try to solutionize the situation or problem. So machine learning deals with techniques to improve the capabilities of machine to experience and data. So today we will be covering machine learning in detail, but as an overview. So this is the basic explanation of machine learning and some of the examples in our day-to-day life. uh, Spam filters, majority of these are found in email systems like Gmail, Outlook. If you see, there is some smart way the email system is kind of arranging or categorizing the emails. Like if you see Gmail, it categorizes the emails to primary, promotions, and so on. So that the email categorization is based on a program or an algorithm that understands the pattern of the email subject and categorizes it. So we will learn more about it, and also we get personal recommendations on some of the websites or a Google search engine. We get personal recommendations which are based on the data we entered over a period of time. So based on our, you know, data entry. So the data is one of the key, again, one of the key concepts of machine learning. So based on the data that the system gets as an input over a period of time, it's gonna recognize the usage pattern and probably recommend the customer or the user with some personalized recommendations. So, and today I have included sources just to encourage you to go to the official website, and probably if you're learning, if you're trying to reproduce your learnings in the mains, UPSC mains, probably you'll be more confident if you are aware of where the original source of information is from. So uh, I recommend you to go to this NITI IO. So there is a website, and you can go there and see the publications, you know, uh, of the NITI IO on AI strategy paper, and it clearly, kind of defines machine learning and some of the examples, and it goes deeper in uh, considering the advantages, disadvantages, also ethics for a responsible AI. So these sources, just for you to uh, go through. I put the sources, link of the sources in the description. So dear aspirant, you can go through the links if you are interested. But majority of the you know important content is covered in our discussion. Remind that. Okay, so the machine learning, uh, we have seen how machines improve through experience and data. So coming to the other concept, key concept of AI, which is deep learning. So in deep learning, so it is a kind of subset of machine learning, we can say, or it's a type of machine learning. It is a bit advanced when compared to machine learning. So it uses artificial neural networks. So the pattern, the neural network is present in our brains, which makes the human brain more sophisticated in terms of storing the data, retrieving the data or information when it is needed, the way we memorize things, the way we recollect things, and give answers. So all is the human brain itself is a sophisticated concept, right? So mimicking the neural networks in the human brain. So deep learning is something, it tries to mimic the human decision making capabilities. Like for example, the best example is self driving cars like Tesla, right? So what they do, when you go on a autopilot mode, right? So it tries to make the decisions like a human. For example, if there is a traffic jam ahead, if some other vehicle is changing the lanes, suddenly, so how a human reacts to the situation. So the machine is also trained in that deeper sense. So it almost tries to mimic the neural networks, artificial neural networks, we can call them. So other examples is facial recognition systems. Like for example, if you see Google Photos, right? Based on the faces on the pictures you upload, so it nicely categorizes, people and the relevant photos. That is kind of a facial recognition based on data. There are also live facial recognition, like unlocking the devices and stuff. So those are all, kind of using some deep imaging concepts, trying to recognize uh, the pattern and make a decision almost like a human, right? So there is also link here. Same link is in the description, and it is pretty much relevant to our learning, dear aspirant, because uh, the link takes you to the G20 summit that happened in Brazil, where India has presented a paper on AI ethics, artificial intelligence ethics for a responsible AI. So they have given all these examples with challenges. So it's good to have a read through. We're coming to the next topic, which is natural language processing. Again, this is also going back to the basics. We are trying to simulate human intelligence. So if we take a baby learning a language or a child learning a language, the same way, so how does our brain naturally process a language? Same way we are trying to, uh, train a machine to naturally process human languages. For example, a field of AI, if you see the definition, that interacts between computers and human languages. Like we ask the questions in a human language, let's say English, it interprets that question internally, it uh, finds out or generates the answer based on its interpretation, and it give back response in a human understandable language, right? For example, chatbots, Google Translate, know, you can say chat GPT, etc. So these are some good examples. Also we have seen them in our last discussion when we are talking about AI as a overall subject, right? So all these links take you to official papers on AI, right? And the last but not least is AI ethics. The regulations that should be imposed on the AI technology. So these are concerns related to responsible use of AI, like for example, privacy, fairness. Let's take an example of uh, you know uh, bias in hiring algorithms. Let's say you have created an AI algorithm to hire employees, and in that, if you have breached the algorithm in such a way that you can enter your favorite candidates details, and the system will automatically hire them. So that is something, we are trying to breach the system, which is not ethical. So these kind of concerns, right? And also we have privacy concerns. All the data we post on social media or any other platform is subjected to, you know privacy breach. So all these falls under the category of AI ethics, which is also uh, a good concept in itself. So that is the overall basic introduction of concepts of AI, try to remember, you know, machine learning, deep learning. These are again interrelated. Natural language processing is something to do with computer understanding human language and interpreting and giving results in a human language. Okay, and AI ethics is very much important because India is more emphasizing on regulating the AI developments and AI's impact on the current generation. Yeah. So let's move on. Machine learning. So today we will discuss more about one of the key concepts of AI, machine learning. So as I have shown you earlier, dear aspirant, so machine learning deals with how the machines improve their ability of interpreting some thing and responding back by using their experience and the data that has gone through in their experience. Okay, so some of the key uh, concepts you know in the machine learning is training algorithms to identify patterns. So the machines are trained with algorithms to identify the patterns, you know like data patterns, and they learn from data. So as the data flow to the system increases, like for example, you have started using uh, Amazon for the first time. Yeah, so you don't get um, so many recommendations, but as you progress, every time you try to search for something new, all your previous data is considered and recommendations come through from the previous data. That is, the machine behind the scenes is learning from the data you have input. The machine tries to make decisions or predictions. So there is a huge demand of this prediction logic, right, and decision making. So in machine learning, machines are taught to make decisions or predictions, and all these are you know uh, so not every aspect of machine learning is explicitly programmed. Means for each and every scenario there is no program. So the basic programming is there, and the algorithm is designed in such a way that when you get more data, you need to process by yourself, right? So that is the basic concept. So to move forward, let's look at the key concepts in machine learning. So we are frequently you know listening to terms like data, right, patterns, okay, algorithms. So all this get converted into key concepts in machine learning. So data. So what is data basically, and how is it a key concept in machine learning? So data is one of the foundational elements of machine learning. So without data, machine it's highly uh, you know uh, difficult for the machine to interpret the patterns. Okay, so there are more. Uh, we move as we move forward. We learn about types of machine learning where we see, based on different data structures, uh, the machine learning is designed to serve different purposes. So here, this is the data is a fundamental element of machine learning. So data can be structured or unstructured. For example, if you see this table, so we clearly know that uh, the concepts. So it is a structured representation of data. If it had been in a paragraph, it would have a little bit difficult for you to understand. But if it is a structured, like you're trying to learn different concepts, and each concept has its explanation. So this is a structured you know um, representation of data. Similarly, we have unstructured, for example, images. So images doesn't have any structure, so they convey some information, but it is not structured. Or free text is not structured, so the machine needs to use some other algorithm to interpret a free text or an image. The second concept is features. Okay, so for any system, we need inputs, like input variables. Okay, uh, for example, if you are asking a machine to predict whether there will be a rainfall, then you should at least feed uh, the weather conditions over a period of time, like last few days, kind of. So that input variables is nothing, that the input that the machine expects to interpret and give response or prediction is termed as features. And this is again, these are uh, technical concepts of science and technology. So it's good that you are aware of, but when you are preparing for UPSC, it's always important that you link these basic concepts with current affairs relevance. So what's going on uh, in the current world, and how this, for example, if you there is a discussion on AI and its impact on privacy, you should be able to understand what is the main concern. So what is the fundamental element that is falling under privacy concern? So the user's data. So that internally is a concept of machine learning, but you need not go to deeper technical aspects of it. But it is always expected that you at least know what data is and how it is linked to a current affair, right? So moving forward, model. So data, and the feature. So how the data is used. I mean, what inputs you give to the system. That is the feature. And model is again mathematical representation of a system learned from data. So this is also again technical. So there is a mathematical representation of data. For example, if you are asking a machine uh, to give back the top 10 uh, movies of 2024, let's say. So it has to give the data back in a particular model, or a representation, right? So it will have the movie name, maybe the cast, director, and so on. So that is the data it is trying to give you back, and that is internally considered as a data model. Okay. And training and testing. So the process of teaching the model, uh, so is called training. So here you have seen, there are training algorithms to identify patterns. The machine is trained to identify some patterns and process the data. So the process of teaching the model is called training, and evaluating its performance. For example, uh, you have taught the machine to, let's say, a calculator, right? So you have taught the machine to perform complex, let's take a scientific calculator. So you perform, so whatever you try to, put in the algorithm is all training. And when the user uses it, how is the performance? So if you ask a trigonometric question in the calculator, how much time does it take you to give you the answer? Calculator is a very simple small example, but if you take chat gpt, right? So chat gpt uh, has different levels of, answering. So if you have premium version of chat gpt, paid version, so the depth of interpretation of and answering is different. So behind the scenes, they have tested the performance, and they have classified the performance according to pricing. So if you use the free version, you get, uh, you know uh, not 100% perfect answer. Maybe you get the right answer, but uh, not in detail. But if you are using a pricing, uh, a priced version of chat gpt, maybe it will give you different versions of the answer. That could be, so the testing the performance of the system, you can say that is one of the key concepts. Okay. This page is more technical. So dear aspirant, going forward, we will we will understand, uh, more in terms of UPSC, but this basic knowledge is required. So this is one of the important topics today: types of machine learning. So I said earlier that based on the data, you know structured, unstructured, and how you're going to train the machine varies, right? And based on what the expectation is, how deep should the interpretation be? Should it mimic human capabilities, or should it be just understanding language and giving back answers? So according to this classification, we have different types of machine learning, and now we'll try to interpret types of machine learning in different aspects, right? We'll try to compare the types of machine learning in different aspects, which will help us, you know uh, in prelims and mains. So we have three types of machine learning. One is supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. So these are the three types of machine learning, and let's see different aspects of them. Let's take definition. Supervised learning is you know uh, they use labeled data. Okay, labeled data is they clearly uh, you know uh, the machine understand what the input is and what the output should be. So it is clearly like input output pairs. For example, if you are asking a mathematical question, addition of two numbers, so it clearly knows, uh, uh, let's take a plus b is equal to c. So it the training model is labeled. So these two are inputs and this is the output. So altogether, this model is an input output pair, right? Similarly, there could be a number of cases, where uh, the learning is more supervised. You need not worry about anything. This is the input pattern you're going to get, and there are different combinations of it, and this is the output you have to give. So output should be a positive integer, and inputs will be numbers. Like for a basic example, right? If you take unsupervised learning, so it is by the words, it is opposite to supervised learning. So it is unlabeled data. So uh, you will not be given a labeled data, so you will not recognize very easily. So you will have to find hidden patterns. So this is somewhat complex, right? You'll have to find the hidden patterns, and you have to, for example, list down all the prime numbers from 1 to 100. If that is the question you ask a computer or a machine, so what it has to do, it has to there is a hidden pattern from numbers 1 to 100. So what is the prime number, what is the hidden pattern of prime number? Okay. And according to that, it will process and give you back the response, right? That is again a simple example, but there are more sophisticated examples which you will see in the table going forward, right? Then we have reinforcement learning. So it is more trial and error. So you try something, and if your trail fails, so you will learn. Maybe a best example would be, you know uh, someone who tried a number of times and learned. So they think of, so I believe every science student uh, uh, you know uh, understands the concept. Try to think of it. The hint is, who invented a telephone, right? So think of it. So it is, you're maximizing the rewards. That means that the efficiency in your answer is maximized by trial and error. For example, you're attempting UPSC when you are undergraduate. So when you have not come out of the college, you are attempting UPSC. So you won't be that focused. Probably you will see what the pattern is. So you are trying, and you're failing, trial and error, but you learn something. And the next time when you attempt, your performance is improved. So it's kind of, going through a trial and error process and improving your performance. So the key algorithm types is, important for someone who is you know uh, more into technology, like but just to remember these keywords uh, on a pure memory basis, uh, you can try to, remember them. Like supervised learning, the key algorithm types are linear uh, regression, decision trees, support vector machines. These are not very important for general studies because they are more deeper algorithm concepts. Okay, but if some current affairs news is stressing uh, a breakthrough in any of the algorithm, like for example, let's say deep q networks. So there is a recent improvement in or breakthrough in quantum computing for deep learning. Okay, that is one of the current affairs. So it's good to have, where exactly what type of machine learning it is used in, right? So timelines again is important, boosts our knowledge and confidence. So supervised learning, so 1950s, if you remember, that is when Alan Turing coined the term artificial intelligence. It started at that time. So supervised learning started with basic models, right? And more advancements were made in 1990s. So unsupervised, they are very pretty much recent. Okay, data science, data analytics, right? Uh, if you have a technical background and working for IT, or if you have friends working in IT, my dear aspirant, so you might have come across the term big data, data science, etc. So all these are unsupervised. So there is a huge amount of data which is, and there are some hidden patterns. You have to predict for, have to predict pre-sales predictions of products and so on. Okay, and this is reinforcement is, you know most recent. And this deep mind is one of the key breakthroughs or key research work going on. Okay, so on deeper machine learning or reinforcement learning systems. Okay, so this is more technical aspect of, types of machine learning. So the definition is a technical understanding. Key algorithms are more kind of technical. Person who directly works on machine learning will be more relevant to the key algorithm concepts. Timelines are somewhat general, so you can consider them for UPSC and other exams, right? For example, current affairs. What is DeepMind's AlphaGo project? You know, there might be questions asked. So moving on, let us look at some other aspects of these three types of you know machine learning. So what is input data? We have already seen this. Okay, uh, so it is labeled data. So in supervised learning, it is labeled data, and in unsupervised, it is unlabeled. You know what is labeled and unlabeled? Labeled is clearly know what is the input and output. Okay, so reinforcement learning, it has a dynamic environment for data. with a reward mechanism. So this is again reiterating or re-looking at the definition. The most probably one of the key aspects is purpose. So why we have these types of machine learning? So what is the purpose, right? So the supervised learning is used to predict outcome based on historical data. So uh, based on historical data, you're trying to predict something. Majority of it is, you know, climatic conditions in a particular season and region, right? In a region, uh, over the period of time, over few years, the climate will be studied, and there could be predictions like, okay, you're going to get this storm uh, next year, or in the western countries, the tornadoes, right? There is always prediction based on the historical data. Okay. And purpose of unsupervised learning is it has to discover new patterns. Okay. So if you want to discover something new, you will not rely on the historical data, right? So that is more of a purpose of, you know, developing a machine which is capable of discovering patterns. And then reinforcement learning, you want to optimize actions in a specific environment. For example, every time uh, a system is failing, it is doing trial and error. So you now know how many times the system and how many ways it has failed, so it will optimize its program. It will try to, you know uh, optimize its actions and reduce the failure count, right? So that's the primary purpose. Okay. And coming to applications of AI, which is very important. So last prelims question, one of the questions asked from artificial intelligence is based on the applications of AI. So applications of AI as a whole, like in what industry the AI is, contributing kind of. But this application of individual type of ML is indirectly, giving you the confidence or source of answering such questions. Okay. So when you take supervised learning, so based on historical data, you're predicting something. So for example, fraud. Okay. Fraud detection in banking. Someone tries to apply for a loan with a very bad credit, right? So how do they they immediately ask for historical data, like 6 months of bank statement, 2 years of salary credit, and so on. So what they do, they uh, process this data. Earlier it used to be a manual process, but nowadays most of the fraud detection is just like that in through a intelligent system. So they will just, like, the credit score is generally a fraud detection system, right, which understand the historical data and gives you a score. Based on the score, you decide whether or not to uh, proceed with the loan application. Okay, so that is a simple example. And predictive analysis in healthcare, this is one of the key aspects in the current generation, because we want to we want system that can identify chronic diseases uh, in less time. For example, recent advancements, dear aspirant, if you are following my WhatsApp channel, the current affairs, some of the breakthroughs in biotechnology and healthcare is, AI systems are developed to predict lung cancers in a early stage, in the most early stage. So that predictive analysis is done based on some data, right? So that is one of the applications. When it comes to supervised learning, sorry, unsupervised learning, so customer segmentation in marketing, you have uh, uh, trading, right? These are all unpredictable environments, but if the system could recognize a hidden pattern, so it gives you an edge of predicting what the market trends are, right? So that is one of the applications in share market or trading. And in unsupervised learning, anomaly detection in cybersecurity. So cybersecurity is uh, it is all uh, detecting some hidden patterns and reacting to the situation, like any anomaly and any disabilities in security is identified using unsupervised learning. Okay. Reinforcement learning, these are kind of trial and error. So you're playing with a computer, let's say chess or video games. So internally, how the computer algorithm process is, the first time you play level 1, you win over the computer, it is easy. But as you progress the levels, it becomes tougher and tougher, right? That is, every time it fails, it learns and immediately processes not to take those steps. Let's say chess game, when you're playing with the computer. Yeah. One of the simple reinforcement learning examples. Okay. So these are again, a bit general knowledge, general study, but purpose and applications is important for us for UPSC. Okay. Now we look at some more aspects which are actually of major importance with respect to the UPSC, dear aspirant. So India relevance is almost, always the most important aspect when you're looking at a subject like science and technology. So you will not be asked complex technology definitions and all that is focus is, what is the relevance of the technology to India, right? So for example, supervised learning in COVID-19 spread analysis, supervised learning is used. So disease prediction models have been developed, and how fast the COVID is spreading. So all this happened during the pandemic, right? So that is based on supervised learning. Okay. Credit risk analysis, as we spoke earlier, right? For microfinancing, because majority of uh, India's microfinancing corps, they rely on credit risk analysis. Without a proper credit check and report, they will not be willing to provide a microfinance. So that is one of the examples. So unsupervised learning with respect to India relevance, again market segmentation. Okay. uh, identifying hotspots for urban planning and smart cities. So that is again a pattern. What where exactly should you develop a smart city? Okay. So for example, electric cars is in an increasing spree in India as well, right? So already many of the real estate chains are analyzing hotspots to establish uh, charging stations. So that is not a simple thing. Okay, so they rely on systems that can predict or identify hotspots for them. So they calculate the nearby cities, the living population, the cost of living and their lifestyles, affordability of electric cars, the range, and so on. So that is one of the examples you can say. And reinforcement learning, when you take India relevance, so drone navigation. So nowadays drones are not only used just for photography but for uh, so seed sowing in agriculture, identifying ripening fruits in a big uh, uh, you know grove and so on. So I think one of the breakthroughs in recent current affairs in science and technology is, also we have seen Microsoft has developed a precision farming AI tools, right? So they are based on reinforcement learning, right? So they'll do trial and error, and they have improved the systems and handing it over to the users of in the agriculture domain. So another reinforcement learning in relevance to India is, train adaptive traffic system. So in congested cities, so mainly in metropolitan cities like Bangalore, uh, Mumbai, so there is an adaptive traffic system. Okay, you can probably have a read through, but that behind the scenes it is falling under reinforcement learning type. Okay, and advantages and disadvantages is one of the key questions because it is general study of any technology. So advantages and disadvantages, here we are looking at ML, machine learning in particular, right? So if we take supervised learning, advantages is there is a high accuracy because the training is made on a labeled data. So there is always a high accuracy when you know the patterns of inputs and outputs, right? So advantages of unsupervised is they can handle complex and high dimensional data. So they are designed to recognize hidden patterns, right? And when it comes to reinforcement learning, so they don't need explicit supervision because they'll learn by trial and error, right? So they learn optimal strategies without any supervision. So they'll try the systems, process the data, gives probably a wrong uh, analysis for the first time, but as soon as it knows that it is wrong, it will improve. And coming to the challenges, so we have when you are preparing data for supervised to feed into a supervised learning system, you will have to do the extra work of labeling the data, right? So the data sets, labeling them is not an easy job, so it is challenging. Unsupervised learning, so again it is all based on hidden patterns, recognizing, discovering some future prediction analysis and so on. So the result might, they lack, interpretation. That is one of the challenges, and researchers are going on to improve that. Okay. Reinforcement learning is high computational cost and long training. Now, why is a Tesla car so costly? Right? Think about it. Because a number of scenarios, the system goes through trial and error process, and each time, you know, a new scenario is, the system is going through a trial and error process on a new scenario. There is always a computational cost involved, right? So that is one of the examples. And Indian organizations, so uh, you know ICICI, any famous private sector bank, or public sector banks, they use this supervised learning for, credit scoring, checking credit score and so on. And this is not a recent thing. It has been there from quite a time, right? So behind the scenes, the systems are the algorithms for the systems are based on supervised learning. Unsupervised learning is e-commerce platform based on user usage patterns, like Amazon, Flipkart. You get recommendations, as I said. So that is based on unsupervised. Okay. Reinforcement learning, again, the same kind of examples falls in this category. And we don't have Tesla in India. So Indian organizations is one of the most uh, proud to be organization is ISRO. So it is building autonomous space rovers and satellite control systems, which have to, which are trained trial and error process and optimized to do their job in the space, or on other celestial bodies, right? So ISRO, and majority of the latest current affairs revolve around ISRO in terms of science and technology, and in terms of artificial intelligence. Majority of the current affairs. Uh, so recent use cases of India is a growing list. Okay. So supervised learning like Byju's, personalized learning at tech platforms, etc. They all are based on, labeled data. Okay. They cannot uh, take in something which is new and try to generate a course out of it. That is not possible. The course is already existing, and they use that labeled data to produce mock tests, learning videos and so on. Okay, simple. Now unsupervised learning, so agri-tech startups like Ninja, just go through this if you are interested, or if you want to learn more. So the supply chain analysis or any prediction analysis is based on unsupervised learning, right? So when we take reinforcement learning, uh, so AI, artificial intelligence based drones, anything which, you know uh, uh, which has to perform some critical operation on its own. Okay. So that is always trained through trial and error process on the field. So AI drones for crop monitoring, probably during floods also, right? When we want to monitor the water, flood level on the fields and so on. So we make use of AI drones. right? So these are, I think this table is somewhat more important for UPSC emphasis and analysis, right? India relevance, advantages and disadvantages. What are the Indian organizations, recent use cases in India, and also when we move forward, when we discuss about the global advancements and current affairs also has its own module, right? We touch base on all this, but our emphasis or focus on smart learning is, we learn a concept in a technology, but also we I try to relate it to the recent advancements. I hope these are the aspects when we are comparing different types of machine learning, and this, I hope, definitely gives you some insights on different types of machine learning. uh, we are discussing concepts of artificial intelligence, and we have gone into deeper discussion on machine learning. And on this note, we end this chapter now. Thank you for your valuable time, dear aspirant, and always remember, every small step takes you closer to your goal. Okay, and on this positive note, I'm closing this machine learning discussion, and let's meet in the next continued discussion on concepts of AI, where we will cover, you know, deep learning and AI ethics and natural language processing. With this, the module 1 is going to end, and the interesting thing is that we are going we are not only learning the basic concepts in the different modules, but we are also covering overall emphasis areas. So don't think that you are in the first module and you'll have to go through five other modules. No, because in each module we are covering the emphasis and focus areas. So when we discuss about the other modules like current affairs, government, India relevance and all, you will be revising what you have what we have discussed today. So on this positive note, uh, uh, wish you all the very best. Continue your smart work. We'll meet soon. Thank you. Jai Hind.